just making kind of a response video about the arc arrow tool. And, you know, versus the spline arrow, which is, you know, a spline with the option to arrow in the data box when you go down to the arrow tab. And is it faster to draw the arc arrow? Absolutely. Yeah, no argument there. Is it faster to detail a full set of plans? And that's where my answer kind of started leaning towards no. I was getting things done. You know, honestly, I use a combination of the two, but I was getting things done a lot faster being able to use the spline arrow to really stuff arrows arrows and text in places where I couldn't otherwise do that. And so, I mean, here's a perfect example. I don't want to cross these arrows. So the difference being is that I'm going to split this arc and kind of manipulate it so that it goes around this other arrow. But then, you know, it's still got to look good. It's still got to be up to a graphic standard. And how much fussing around? You know, maybe I could have gotten that done on the first try. Sometimes I do, but I mean, that's kind of one of the issues there. The other one is that, you know, I want this leader to come out and then arc out, right? Because I want that's what the look should be. And I mean, that was pretty quick. Oops, there we go. That's a spline. But another kind of issue I was having with this is, and what this was really born from, was that in layout there's a glitch, and I've been doing details in layout, and I might change back to, you know, doing them in plan and then sending them to layout. You know, chances are I probably will, but I was doing things in layout, and there's a glitch where it will, if you drop a PDF in on a separate page and then move it around or rescale something on a separate page, it will drag these arc arrows with them. And I wasn't having that same problem with the spline arrow tool. So I mean, we got kind of the look I want more or less here. These aren't quite snapping right. That's no big deal, but let's do something else with the arc here. Is if I want to go straight up from this, you know, that's just not a pretty looking thing. Again, I'm going to be kind of messing around with this and splitting it, and I'm not really sure what the answer is. You know, how many times do I have to split it to make this look good? And then the other thing is, if I needed, you know, to point out something behind this text, like I wanted to go back here, look what happens, it snaps to the top. You know, so there's these issues, like, you know, say I've got only this blank space here, which means that, you know, I want to send my arrow right above it. You know, I've got this issue here. Okay, we can get around that issue maybe. Let's grab the arrow and use that whole alt trick. You know, I'm familiar with it. And you get that kind of seeing that ugly arrow again. So anyways, these are reasons that I want the spline tool. Yeah, the top half of this could have been done with the arc arrow, and that would be faster. But in fact, we'll even leave them there. But we'll change a couple of them, and I'll show why. You know, is that I have kind of a graphic standard for my work, and one of those is that I really want my arrows to be pointing to. Well, there's no spline arrow tool. I have an option to make a spline into an arrow. And if you guys want to fix the spline arrow in this next version, that'd be great. But I really like that I have this option to really direct where my arrows are going to go here, right? And look at what a time saver this guy is right here. Like, perfect case in point is, you know, and that still looks good. I can drag this leader and it still looks really good. And then grab an arrow. I could have grabbed all of these leaders and put arrows on them. And I just think there's a benefit to this. And I mean, really, I don't need to argue for it. This is what I use. It's my preference. and it should be fixed. It's not working right now in its current state. But you know how hard it would be to get that done right there with a arc arrow? There's no way. I mean, let's try an arc arrow. You know, it's got that glitch. What am I going to do? So when I'm detailing out a big set of plans, and okay, let's snap it over here. Is it going to let me? Yeah, there it goes. Detailing out a big set of plans, and I've got problems like this, you know, and how would I make this look like that spline? I mean, the spline definitely has a place to me in callouts. I mean, this is a pain in the butt. It's not even worth it, you know, and that's why I use it. So kind of to sum up, yes, the arc is real fast, but for the kind of the graphics standard and the density of info that I'm getting in these plans, I'm using California Residential Code prescriptive measures. I'm having to call out a lot of details. You know, my sections are very verbose, and it's just hard to get all those leaders in there and not be crossing each other without using that spline tool. So hope Chief fixes it. I hope in the process of fixing it that they create a spline arrow tool. That'd be awesome. So that's my 2 cents.